This is Gus Summers, and you're watching In-Show Celebrities. This is the time I take every Monday to talk about some of my favorite films and actors. This week, we have another grand superstar of Hollywood, Sir Michael Caine. This fantastic actor grew up in London during the war-torn years of World War II. He was actually part of that young generation that was taken from the city out to the country so they wouldn't have to be involved in the ordeal of the bombardment from German airplanes. Well, after coming back, he went and finished school. Then he did his national service in the British Army. And after concluding that service, he would go on to answer an ad for a local theater that was looking for a backstage hand and part-time actor. Well, when he took that job, he knew acting would be what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. And from there, he would do all sorts of plays and television parts, even feature films. By the mid-1950s, he was starting to break into feature films, getting larger and larger roles. Well, his big break came in the early 60s when a friend of his recommended him for a part in a movie called Zulu. He would audition for another part, but end up getting a larger role in the film. The part would be Lieutenant Broomhead. That role would literally make him a movie star. And then from there, from the 1960s, he would just go on to be the lead in many films and really establish himself as a great movie star. He would do films such as The Italian Job, Battle of Britain, Alfie. So by the time the decade was over, he was already known as a major movie star. So in the early 70s, there came a film that he really wanted to do because he felt that this film, this character, really was a route that he could have taken early on because he grew up in a hard neighborhood. And this particular character was basically many of his friends that he had known growing up. He actually calls this character the ghost of Michael Caine. The film, Get Carter. He plays Jack Carter, a hitman for a local syndicate in London. Early in the film, he finds out that his brother Frank was killed. So he wants to go back to his hometown of Newcastle and find out what happened. Well, the people he works for are discouraging him. Don't go. You're going to cause trouble. We have dealings with them. But he says, I'm going to go anyways. One of the things I really like about this character is that he's fiercely independent. He knows his position. He knows who he is. But there are some things that just need to be done. And he goes off and does them. So he gets to Newcastle. And immediately he goes to his brother's home. He finds the casket of his brother there. And he's making those arrangements to have him buried. He sees that his niece comes home, Doreen. He's trying to deal with her, finding out what she's been doing, what's her plans for the future. He wants her to come with him. She's not really, interested, but, it's understandable because her father just died. Now she has to find out what she's going to do for the rest of her life. So now Jack Carter, Michael Caine, is going around Newcastle asking questions of different people who he knows. Do you know this person? And where can I find him? Where's this person? And what do they know? He ends up looking for a particular friend of his named Eric. He's a guy that basically knows a lot of what's going on. Eric, he was a wonderful actor at the time. He was actually up to play Jack Carter, but it ended up going to Michael Caine. The actor, Ian Hendry. He's the guy who's basically in the know of everything because he's the chauffeur of one of the particular crime bosses in the town. So Michael Caine goes to see him at the races. Hello, hello, Eric. Where's so and so? What have you been doing now? And it's this little cat and mouse back and forth. So Michael Caine ends up following him because he's a chauffeur of the syndicate guy. Finds out where the syndicate guy is and goes to have a conversation, because basically it's a it's a small town that everyone, all the criminal element knows each other. So Michael Caine, breaks into the house, and he's talking to, like I said, the boss. His name is Kinnear. Another actor who's actually a playwright. He was actually known for his writing skills versus his acting. He took this part as just part of his journey as an artist. The playwright, John Osborne. So anyways, Jack Carter, is asking Kinnear, hey, what's happening, and about his brother, because Kinnear didn't know that, supposedly didn't know that Michael Caine's brother was working for him. He says, hey, I know he was working for him. He goes, I didn't know. If I had known, I would have given him a better position, blah, 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 going back and forth. And he gives Michael Caine this information, hey, it could be this, could be that, I don't know. So Michael Caine leaves. And so now, Michael Caine is trying to, piece together what's going on, because everyone's giving him tidbits, but, it's not the complete truth. So he's trying to figure out, what happened. They're saying he committed suicide, and he would say, my brother wasn't like that. He wouldn't have done that. They said, well, he was running, some sort of illegal activity. No, he wouldn't have done that either. Someone killed him. So he's already suspecting that he was murdered. So he's just trying to find out who did it. And so while he's going around town, he's being followed. He's noticing people following him. At one point, they try to convince him, time for you to leave, Jack, before you cause trouble, before you get hurt. And, he ends up, duking it out with a few people, gets hold of this, kind of a weaselly little guy. He wants, hey, I want to know where this guy's at. Tell me where he's at. So he ends up telling him, and he goes looking for that guy to find out more information. That guy tells him that it's Kinnear, and Kinnear said it was you. I'm not going to believe you guys. I have to figure this out for myself. So I love that aspect about the film. You're already about halfway through, and you still don't know anything. A few things that I like about the film. One, all it is the ominous presence of Michael Caine walking around, talking to people. And people's dealing with him. Some people, like the crime boss, John Osborne, he's being real cool because he's the boss, right? He's one of the local bosses. Some of the other hitmen, are tough and strong too, but, he has this way about him. And you don't see any violent scene until you're practically a third to halfway through the film. So this entire time, it's just him asking questions, being ominous. One of the things I love about the film. And another thing is that the pacing is nice. Even though some of the scenes they're not long, they're not short, they're just right, which keeps you involved in everything that's going on. But, great film. You have to stay with it the whole time, and you will enjoy it because, Michael Caine's in it, and you're trying to figure out, what happened to his brother and who killed him. And actually, Michael Caine was involved in the remake with Sylvester Stallone a few years ago called Get Carter. So it was great to see him in that movie. But fantastic film, fantastic acting. You'll love it. But the next film, what can I say? I can pick anything. So I decided to go with a comedy because he has great comedic timing. So the film I chose, Without a Clue. He plays Sherlock Holmes. That's his alias. His real name is Kincaid. He's an actor hired by Dr. Watson. Because Dr. Watson is really the brains behind all this. And I love the combination of Michael Caine and this other actor. Who's the actor that plays Watson? Sir Ben Kingsley. What a great combination. So he is the he's the brains behind the whole group. Everyone is praising, Sherlock Holmes and his, deductive reasoning, as we know. But he's a paid actor. Dr. Watson, Ben Kingsley, had written some stories. Had solved the case, and people wanted to know who who the person was that solved the case, and he didn't want people to know it was him, so he said, oh, he made up this character called Sherlock Holmes, and people wanted to meet Sherlock Holmes, and so he went looking for someone to portray the character he made up. So he found this washed out actor and tells him what to say, tells him how to be. And so now everyone loves Sherlock Holmes instead of Dr. Watson, because at one point he's trying to get rid of Sherlock Holmes and present this new person, Dr. Watson, the crime doctor, if I remember correctly. But I love the interaction of the two, because Michael Caine is the bumbling actor. At times he's, when he's Sherlock Holmes, and when Ben Kingsley tells him what to do, he's sophisticated and and speaks properly. But the other times when he's not portraying Holmes, he's a bumbling fool. He's a drunkard. He's a womanizer. He's a gambler. And Dr. Watson just wants to, get him each time. Well, the film starts off as these counterfeit plates were made, and so the English government goes to Sherlock Holmes to try to figure out who has made these counterfeit 5-pound plates, because it will ruin the economy if they start producing these bills. So they hire Sherlock Holmes at the same time that Dr. Watson fired him. So Ben Kingsley's trying to convince them, I'm the person you want. They're like, no, we don't want you. You're just a helper. Just get us Sherlock Holmes. So he has to go find Sherlock Holmes, hire him back, and then try to solve the case about the plates. They think it was an inside job by someone who worked at the bank. They follow that. They think that the person was actually killed. And they think he was murdered. And so now it may be a murder investigation. And now, the Scotland Yard lieutenant is trying to tag along so he can get some glory, because, he hates Sherlock Holmes. The lieutenant, another great actor, he plays Lieutenant Lestrade. It's Jeffrey Jones. I think he did a great job, alongside of Ben Kingsley and Michael Caine. And then in the beginning, you see the mysterious person. Who is this? You find out later it's Sherlock Holmes's nemesis, Professor Moriarty. You're portrayed by another great actor, Paul Freeman. You probably remember him from Indiana Jones. He was the archaeologist who always was against Indiana Jones in the first. And so now there are clues where it looks like the case is closed, but it's not. And so they're trying to figure out, okay, it's not just these minor criminals. It's actually Moriarty who's after us. Well, we got to get them. So the film is, goes into all kinds of directions, but, fantastic film. I just love the interaction between Ben Kingsley and Michael Caine. Fantastic movie. I know you'll love it. But, that's just... like I always say, it's just the surface of the films that he's done. He's an Academy Award-winning actor. He's done movies like Sleuth, Hannah and Her Sisters. He played Alfred in the Christopher Nolan's Batman. And of course, if you want to see a great Michael Caine children's movie, The Muppet Christmas Carol. It's just a great movie. Just, he's like over the top as Ebenezer Scrooge. You'll love it. But, fantastic actor. What can one say about his, 60, almost 70-year-long career? Fantastic actor. Everything he touches turns to gold. Well, that's what I got for you today. This is Gus Summers, and you've been watching In-Show Celebrities. This is the time I take every Monday to talk about some of my favorite films and actors. Remember, don't forget to catch us every Thursday from 1 to 2 p.m. at theinshow.com, where I host The In Show. And that's where I bring on all sorts of celebrities and guests to talk about whatever it is that they are doing. Of course, be sure to visit us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Flickr, Instagram, all those great social media sites. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, Gus has left the building.